It is the Al Travis Show, and we're always lucky to have her on with us. Been too long. It's Heather Dugan, our relationship expert. How you doing, Heather?
I'm well, thanks, Al. Life is good
Good.
with you. Yep.
Oh, there are no complaints. I do radio for a living. Can't be too strenuous. But I find I've got three, obviously, younger kids. They're younger than me. That's how that works. But I've got three kids all out there, one married, one getting married, and then you get, one who's out there still living the dream. I find it so different the way today's people get along and try to find each other. We started with, trying to find a way of in a digital world when you're older and going through this. Would you want to be anywhere near these young kids and what they're doing today? It's scary.
Well, I think that there are a lot more options, and I think there's a lot more overwhelm out there right now. There's a lot more opportunity for your cringe moments to be broadcast to the world in one form or another. There are a lot of, I mean, I always say I'm glad my paper trail wasn't actually made of, I mean, the video stuff right now is scary,
Yeah, your mistakes between you and the one person in the room and the rest of the world didn't see it. But even now, when you were out there looking, and I say that, I don't mean to throw you up in my age group, but older folks have some perspective on how this can hurt you and how, right? I mean, you're looking for someone to be truthful with you. So if you're going on a website, you're trying to be, obviously you're putting the good spin on it, but you're not, you're trying to be a little more truthful, I imagine. Some of this stuff these kids are doing, it's like, okay, that guy, he's a 10 out of 10 for sure, guaranteed till you meet him, right? I mean, is there a little more to being older in this and to have these tools available?
If you've learned from your experiences, yes, there's value.
Okay.
if you have taken all those experiences and used them to highlight what's wrong with the world instead of what maybe you could adjust your approach, then maybe not so effective. But I do think there's wisdom, and also I think hopefully we get to a point where you're able to just kind of go shrug things off a little more if they aren't as personal. I think that's a value, and you have a bigger life.
There's bigger life. There's something to rejection, right? You get to an age, this is it. This is what you're going to get. So take it or leave it. And some people leave and it doesn't hurt me. When you're 18, 19, and you're out there trying and she says no, and it hurts more because it's like, oh my gosh, there's something wrong with me. You don't have that buffer to say, all right, you missed out. You know what I'm saying? There's something to the self-esteem of olderness.
Sure. Well, you're right about that. That was a good word there.
I made it up.
Next year's word of the year, right?
Olderness.
But no, we are, we're still formulating our core selves when we're in the age group you're talking about. And your first love is the greatest love because it is the only love you've ever had, So things are bigger in that sense. But, as life goes on, they kind of shrink to normal size, I think.
Yeah.
But there's such the highs and lows though are the highs can be euphoric. So people can, get in the zone of chasing those.
But isn't that the problem with today's society? Is that there isn't a lot of chasing that needs to be done. It's on your phone. If somebody drives through your area, they will pop up. There's no chase going on. I mean,
it's a different kind of chase, Al. I think it's more of a trying to be noticed, get attention, because there is so much, and then people can disappear so easily. So I think it can become a more desperate thing, for some people because they're afraid of losing that glimpse of whatever they saw, in a text string.
Yeah,
and
that's
when the guy's not reached back again. Yeah,
but it's like the text stream. It's like there isn't a bond made. Oh, I've been texting him for how long? Well, maybe everything he's saying is just sarcastic as all get out. Evidently, sarcasm, I'm telling you, it's my experience, doesn't work real well in a text. It's hard to get the nuance of that. Yeah. So let's say that's who you are. She's getting the wrong impression, right? Because she's not reading this. She thinks everything, he's just the guy. You don't know. And then it's all these short answers, right? How do I put this? This just sounds so old. I remember a time must have been high school, junior high, sitting on the phone with a gal, attached to the wall. I mean, you couldn't go anywhere for like 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Having conversations, deciding whether her giggle was cute or was going to drive me nuts the rest of my life. They don't have that now.
No.
So how do they get over that?
You're right. I mean, when I'm thinking back then, you couldn't scroll through your phone. You might flip a newspaper, but that's a little awkward as you're there. You'll twist it up at the phone cord, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we had the gift of focus. We didn't even know it was a gift back then.
Yeah.
We kind of called it boredom sometimes, but
Yeah.
we had focus. We had focus,
Yeah.
and that's one of the big issues for most of us now is regaining that kind of focus and to gain it in the right moments when you're actually with somebody physically, and to take a texting relationship or an online connection to real life. That takes time we're not always willing to give. It takes a vulnerability that we're not as used to sharing right now, perhaps. And, it takes effort. Effort. And we want to know that the outcome will be worth the effort before we put the effort in.
See,
I think
that's so backwards.
It is a little bit. Yeah.
You used, as a guy, you're out there in the market, you were working, baby. You put the work in first and hoped it was going to pay out later. Now it's the other way around. That is so crazy. I've got to go to break. Here's what I'd like to do is chat with you. I've read a thing that women today are not thrilled with the quality of men that are out there, that men would rather play their video games, rather do some other stuff. The chivalrous guy is gone. And I'm telling you, I think it has to do with everything we just talked about. You sent me a list. Maybe you can bring it up. The dating terms that they use these days.
Interesting.
Let's talk about that on this side, and then I want to throw out so that maybe some people listening will say, that's what they meant by that. I was stunned by this list. I did not know half of the words. I'm like, what? We'll talk about it. It's Heather Dugan, our relationship expert. We'll be back right after this with more. Don't go anywhere. It's not the same if you're not here. It's the Al Travis Show. We've got her, Heather Dugan. Love having her on. What are your thoughts on the idea that ladies were complaining in this thing about there are no good men because men would rather play their video games? They can get almost everything they need online now. And I throw out, attention. You go like a few gals on the Twitter thing, and then all of a sudden they'll come back, and now there's no effort there. So it's hard for women to find guys who are willing to put an effort in. I can see that.
Yeah. Well, I think, that's probably right there an indication that it's not a great match. If somebody's interest is more on what's on a screen than actually connecting with you in person, then, you move on. Unfortunately, I think a lot of people get trapped into that zone of wanting to make somebody be what they want them to be. We think, oh, if only he were this way. If only he could see me in my dancing, best outfits, then he would change his mind. But no, we have to deal with the person who's as they say they are in this moment.
Well, that's where we get to the first word of the day: authenticity, which sounds good, but when we're talking in the dating world, that's the killer. What they mean by it, according to Gen Z, dating gold standard is showing up as your true, unvarnished self. Nobody has done that in the history of men chasing women. Have we shown up as our true, authentic self? No one wants that. No.
You know what, though? More now. I will say, I remember when I was first newly single years ago, and a guy met me like right straight from the gym, and I had at that point, I was new to it, and I was doing a little, I looked nice, and he's there all grubby, as hasn't shaved, and then all that, whatever.
Oh, that's funny.
But we actually ended up we dated a while. We were actually good friends for quite a while. Yeah, I don't know now. I think as we get older, we kind of are like, I don't want to, I think people are more natural, I will say. I think at this point in life, when you get over like, say, 50, I think a lot of people are a little more their real selves because it's too much effort to be somebody else, right? At
that age, yeah, but I'm talking these young kids now because part of the game was putting your best foot forward. You didn't show that. If back to the young man was into gaming, that's what he really likes. He wants to be on his phone. I can't get away. They're all addicted to it. Well, if you want my authentic self, I'm looking at my phone every 5 minutes because that's more important to me. Somebody might get a hold of me. That can't be a good start to any relationship. It's just my opinion. It seems wrong.
I mean, we went authentic, but we went authentic that jives with our idea of what that person should be. Yeah. But authentic, you can't go wrong with authenticity. Honestly.
Well, your best authentic you. I think you put on a good pair of jeans and you don't know.
Not the ones with
I'm
the paint
old.
stain? Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Makes
just
sense.
old school
Yeah.
that way.
No, I think
This
that's good.
bird theory, this alphabetical list, this could take us a while. It'll take a couple every week. This bird theory, I honestly think people in your profession are studying this too much. You're going to ruin everything.
No,
Everything.
this is solid. I read about this a few years ago, actually. The idea, if you can engage your partner's attention on something that interests you, if they dismiss you so easily, then that's that says something larger about the relationship. The idea is that if you're sharing space together and you go, oh, that is the most interesting bird, and they're like, huh, and they don't even look up. That to you would be, I mean, that to me, let's put it that
Yeah.
way, that would be they're not interested in finding out what's important to me.
See that you all you put a theory to it. Okay, this is my point. You're going to over test this whole thing until you ruin everything. For folks who don't know, it's a TikTok trend that if you go out there and say, "I saw a bird today" to your partner, then you just watch to see if they respond or not. If they respond, oh, what kind? What did you enjoy about the bird? Did it hum to you? I don't know what you're supposed to come up with that craziness. Or do they just say, oh, nice, and move on?
Yeah.
If they don't take time to stop on this test question, they're out of there. I don't think you put people that
they're not curious about you. I just think that's a minor thing. If a bird, whatever, right? I mean, and hopefully, if you're somebody that sees 20 birds a day and wants to give a rundown on each one, I could see that not even sparking, that's probably a bad match.
Well, I think it's different if you said, oh, my mother died yesterday, and then you have if you ignored it, got it. I saw a bird today. If we don't stop down, we're not going to date. Maybe I had a couple of things on my plate, a little more important than the bird. I don't like it being called a test, maybe the test thing.
I think that the idea is that you have ability to generate conversation between each other, between yourselves. Okay. So if conversations aren't happening because they're all thudding every time somebody brings something up, there's no two-way going there. And so what are you really going to connect on? So that's the bigger thing in that. Hopefully they're a little curious about why you're curious about something.
I don't even know what Black Cat Girlfriend is. I don't even understand it after reading it. Does it make any sense to you? I have no idea. She prioritizes herself while oozing mystery and independence. The Black Cat Girlfriend.
It's just being kind of exotic and being, but it's kind of a little narcissistic is what I gather from it. I mean, and it's a kind of there's been that kind of a girlfriend forever, I suppose, but it's exotic enough to grab interest is the idea.
I'm not going to get through all of this, but I want to get to the chair therapy quick. It means going for someone who supports you without being asked. If you walked into the room, they would pull up a chair for you to sit down. I don't know that the open a chair for a young lady thing is even a thing anymore. I don't know that if you walked into a party and he pulled a chair out for you at the table to sit you down and scoot you in, the world would stop and say, what in God's green earth just happened? I don't think it's a thing.
Yeah, people would think, what is he keeping her away from? No, I think truly the idea behind that is that it is somebody that is looking and actively interested in your comfort, in whatever form that might be. Maybe it's, oh, her water's empty or his water's empty. I'm going to get him, it goes both ways, but it's caring enough about the other person that you're noticing ways that you can make their life a little better.
And I get that. So opening a door for a young lady, you don't see a lot of that anymore. Is that still a thing? Opening the car door for my spouse. I'm going to tell you, 30 years later, she walks up the door, she's hopping in, and I'm like, okay, and I got to go around my. That's not happening anymore. I still walk on the street side if we're walking down the street, right? I get on the street side.
Yeah.
I still walk down the stairs ahead of her or up the stairs behind her because those are what I taught my kids. But I don't think that's normal anymore.
But you know what? I think kids, younger people don't know what those are for. Like, typically the man is on the street side, and this goes from way back especially when there are big puddle splashes and whatnot. Now I think it's to keep her safe from texting drivers. Might be, but it's a protective thing, and the same with going behind or going ahead at the right moment, so that you can absorb her fall. Right? If she would trip, you would be the big.
I'd be the soft pillow to land on.
You'd be the soft pillow she landed on. There we go. Thank you. My words were just failing. But yes. Yeah.
Okay, I just don't know if any of that is anything anymore. That's my point. I don't know if even a woman says, "Well, you didn't even open the door for me." I don't know if they expect it. I don't know.
I think that we cherish being cherished, and it goes both ways. So I think, it may be appearing and in different ways now. Maybe the chairs aren't as, we like to stand, whatever. Or, it could come across as manipulative. You go sit over here and all. But I think the underlying feeling should be, I care about you. And that's what we're looking for.
That's fair enough. I got to fly. We're out of time. I love doing this stuff, picking on the kids, because some of this stuff is crazy. I just got to be honest. It's crazy. But I appreciate you being on the program. I really do. We'll do it again in a couple weeks.
Good deal, Al.
She's Heather Dugan. Go to heatherdugan.com.